today.
And says, am I getting beard on you?
It smells good.
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
Right. And then says, smells good. And she says, it's my body makeup. That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting for the camera, trying to make it look like two lovers, two people in a relationship are dancing with one another. For those who are not in the Hollywood world, what is wrong with her taking over the film?
I've never seen it before in my 30-plus year career in Hollywood. She wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors. She wanted to be part of that team. The next thing you know, she took over the editing. She started making threats that she wouldn't promote the movie, that she wanted to be in control of marketing of the movie, that she would do nothing in terms of promotion unless she was the actual editor.
Who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively. It's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument, okay? Now, what was at the root of that argument? We don't know, but we can assume it had something to do with what he saw in these dailies, what he read in the script. Who even knows what led him to even visit on this day? And the person says that from that day forward, he started involving himself, that he basically became a chaperone for her on set. He was there.
That she became uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched on an intimate part of her body, and Mr. Baldoni responded with, "It's fine. I'm totally hot for my wife," in a dismissive tone.
Justin says that Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story because she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone-deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze while talking about domestic violence. Justin says the war between himself and Blake really started in May 2023 when they started shooting the movie. He claims that she was organizing a takeover strategy.
They're done, and it's no wonder everyone avoided them like the plague.
TMZ just dropped a bomb on Blake Lively, and it made her day from pretty bad to devastating. So we are still waiting on the amended lawsuit from Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They're supposed to be adding names or evidence, who knows, but today is the due date, and it has to be done by 11:59 p.m. We have been waiting.
It's my favourite story, I think, in showbiz this year. The Justin Baldoni war with Blake Lively, which seems to me, initially I felt quite sorry for Blake Lively. Then I've been reading all the messages between them all, and which he's been putting out, obviously. And it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists now spray gunning each other with as much dirt as they can possibly do, having spewed lovey-dovey stuff to each other for months on end.
The Oscars typically feature comedic routines, red carpet glamour, and predictable feel-good moments. Host Conan O'Brien, renowned for his wit, was expected to keep the show brisk and humorous. Instead, he unleashed a pointed commentary that zeroed in on Blake Lively's lawsuit troubles. According to multiple sources, Lively, caught entirely off guard, left the auditorium soon after, turning her back on the televised spectacle that usually enthralls the entertainment industry. The sudden walkout ensured that the spotlight shifted from acceptance speeches to the conflict unfolding between Lively and Justin Baldoni. Rumors describe Lively's exit as abrupt, with those near her seat noticing a clear expression of shock or anger when O'Brien's monologue dug into her rumored missteps. Before viewers fully grasped what was happening, she was gone, leaving her seat conspicuously empty. It's not common for a star at that level to exit so publicly, especially at a ceremony known for decorum and celebration. Almost instantly, social media erupted with speculation, commentary, and half-verified accounts of what exactly Conan said and how sharply it might have cut. The question is, did Lively's departure confirm the validity of O'Brien's remarks, or was it just a response to unfair comedic jabs? For a night meant to commemorate Hollywood's pinnacle achievements, the turn of events was jarring. Instead of lauding cinematic milestones, people online and in the venue discussed Lively's abrupt walkout. Attendees scrambled for context, and the rumor mill churned with claims that the jokes targeted Lively's ongoing legal entanglements with Justin Baldoni, implying she wasn't being as transparent as she let on. As the show soldiered on, glimpses of an empty seat fueled the story that overshadowed the rest of the festivities. By the end, the biggest topic wasn't who won Best Picture, but rather how One Star's lawsuit scandal invaded the Oscars, culminating in a walkout few will soon forget. Witness accounts converge on Conan O'Brien's opening act as the spark for Lively's swift exit. Traditionally, Oscar hosts poke gentle fun at nominees and the industry in general. This time, O'Brien injected references to the rumored lawsuit between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. People who were seated close enough to see Lively claim her expression changed the instant O'Brien started alluding to certain folks in the crowd who might have more pressing matters in court than on the red carpet. Another snippet, apparently, mentioned legal scuffles that make an awards ceremony look tame, leaving little doubt who he was hinting at. Whether O'Brien fully named Lively is a point of debate. Some say he never uttered her name directly, but context made it impossible to miss. Others insist he dropped her name outright, which would mark an uncharacteristically direct jab at an ongoing legal case. Either way, the comedic jabs had enough specificity that Lively and the entire venue understood who was being targeted. The moment O'Brien segued into jokes about two stars at odds, throwing legal documents like confetti, an undercurrent of discomfort reportedly rippled through the audience. Within minutes of these remarks, Lively was seen leaning over to a companion, or possibly a publicist, whispering with a tense, urgent demeanor. According to onlookers, she soon rose from her seat and disappeared into a side aisle. By the time the camera panned for reaction shots, her seat was vacant. Some speculated she stepped out to gather her composure or confront O'Brien backstage. But as the show continued, she didn't return, confirming it wasn't a mere restroom break. Her abrupt departure became the evening's major storyline, overshadowing much of O'Brien's subsequent comedic bits. The big question, did O'Brien cross a line, or was Lively's reaction unwarranted? Rumors quickly flared that Lively had tears in her eyes, or an expression teetering between fury and humiliation. A hush fell over certain sections of the auditorium, where star after star realized that something bigger than comedic banter was unfolding. Social media lit up, with watchers at home tweeting things like, "Did Lively actually leave after Conan's jokes?" And "What's going on with Lively's lawsuit that spooked her so much?" The world outside the theater consumed these scraps of information in real time, setting the stage for a night overshadowed by One Star's decision to exit rather than face the public comedic commentary about her personal woes. Ordinarily, the Oscars revolve around who looks stunning on the red carpet and which underdog film secures a surprise trophy. On this night, however, that usual script was upended. From the moment O'Brien wrapped his monologue, the hum of speculation about Lively's whereabouts drowned out typical awards chatter. The tension in the room manifested in uncertain applause, presenters who seemed slightly rattled, and an online frenzy that overshadowed the carefully planned show. In that sense, Lively's abrupt walkout usurped the entire evening's narrative. As the ceremony soldiered on, the typical comedic banter felt tinged with an awkward undercurrent. Some presenters made wry references to the unexpected drama, though none went so far as to name Lively. Others acted oblivious, forging ahead with normal pleasantries. Meanwhile, producers behind the scenes, according to rumors, scrambled to ensure no live camera feed showed Lively's empty seat for too long. A-listers who might have chatted with her backstage offered no immediate comment, fueling further speculation. Social media watchers, on the other hand, devoured every rumored detail. People posted unverified eyewitness accounts, claiming they saw Lively in a hallway backstage, apparently engaged in heated discussion with a member of her team. Another rumor insisted Lively hopped into a car and left the premises entirely, not even waiting for the show to finish. The Oscars ordinarily produce endless debates about best-dressed celebs or comedic hits and misses. This year, though, the audience fixated on the story of one star walking out mid-broadcast, thereby overshadowing every emotional acceptance speech that followed. By the time the final awards were handed out, the media's focus had shifted from praising winners to investigating the meltdown behind Lively's walkout. A segment of the public was outraged at O'Brien, believing he exploited a painful legal conflict. Others championed O'Brien's approach, praising him for addressing an issue swirling in the headlines. The question on everyone's mind: how grave must Lively's situation be if she couldn't handle a few comedic barbs? That single query cast an entirely new light on the rumors that Justin Baldoni's revelations might be more devastating than initially believed. To grasp why Lively's decision to exit so abruptly carried such weight, you need context on her dispute with Justin Baldoni. Their conflict, rumored to revolve around production deals, personal vendettas, or a mix of both, has been simmering for months. Each new rumor piles on allegations that Lively and Baldoni are locked in a psychological tug-of-war, each side claiming moral high ground while insiders whisper about manipulative maneuvers and unholy alliances. The tension escalated after suggestions that Lively's public image, long viewed as polished and harmless, might be under strain if certain documents or communications see the light of day. In past coverage, glimpses emerged of alleged behind-the-scenes efforts by Lively to shape media narratives or protect certain details from going public. Baldoni responded by implying he possessed evidence that would transform how fans perceive Lively. This dynamic turned their lawsuit from a standard industry conflict into a spectacle of rumored secrets and high-stakes PR warfare. So when Conan O'Brien at the Oscars chose to reference Lively's situation, he effectively flung open a door Lively struggled to keep sealed. The background tension might explain her strong reaction. If Lively feared that O'Brien's comedic routine hinted at deeper truths about her case, she might have felt leaving was the only way to preserve composure. Some watchers argue that had she simply laughed it off, the moment might have passed quietly. But her exit sent a signal that O'Brien's jests were more than superficial humor. If the rumor is that she physically couldn't remain in the building, that suggests the comedic routine touched on vulnerabilities Lively desperately wanted concealed. In many ways, this walkout overshadowed the months of speculation leading up to the Oscars. The incident validated talk that Lively's lawsuit troubles are bigger and more consequential than her fans suspected. If a star known for maintaining composure under media pressure feels compelled to exit the industry's biggest event, it might indicate that the lawsuit drama is spiraling beyond her control. Meanwhile, Baldoni's camp must be observing the fiasco with great interest. If a couple of jokes from O'Brien was all it took to send Lively out the door, imagine how she might react to further revelations or actual evidence in the months ahead. From the moment reports confirmed Lively's early departure, Hollywood buzzed like a hive. Some wondered if she would return after cooling down. Others held that she'd left for good, unwilling to endure even a second more of public jabs about her legal conflict. The Oscars audience, a tapestry of major directors, producers, and actors, exchanged glances that spoke volumes. If Lively, a recognized fixture of red carpets, had no recourse but to flee, what does that imply about her rumored predicament? Social media platforms erupted. Viewers posted real-time updates. Blake, Lively just walked out. Did I see that right? And wait, is she actually gone or just taking a break? Within the hour, hashtags alluding to her abrupt departure trended, overshadowing the usual post-show discourse about winners and losers. Memes circulated, capturing a freeze frame of Lively's seat or a snippet of O'Brien's monologue. Everyone from casual fans to entertainment journalists weighed in, some decrying O'Brien for crossing a line, others pouncing on the event as proof that Lively's lawsuit troubles are more damning than she lets on. Insiders at the ceremony who tried to diffuse tension found themselves stumped. One rumor states that a prominent Hollywood figure attempted to contact Lively's team right after she left, aiming to coax her back or at least verify she was all right. The result, apparently, was an emphatic refusal. The subtext: if the jokes were half as pointed as rumored, Lively's brand of calm grace might have cracked irreparably. One commentary said the entire fiasco felt like a mass hush fell over the room because we all realized that was no standard comedic roast. This was real legal baggage aired in front of the entire planet. Even those not particularly aligned with Lively or Baldoni recognized how a single comedic routine can devastate a star's carefully cultivated aura. Typically, celebrities brush off comedic jabs with a wave and a smile. Lively's abrupt disappearance suggests a scenario that goes well beyond comedic discomfort. It hints at allegations that might be genuinely devastating if they come to light. The atmosphere at the Oscars, usually thick with applause and mild drama, turned tense, overshadowed by the empty seat that signaled something deeper was brewing behind the glitzy veneer. Blake Lively has long enjoyed a relatively stable public image built around style, wittiness, and an approachable persona. People rarely pinned major controversies on her. Yet this lawsuit with Baldoni, and now her Oscars walkout, threatens to dismantle that carefully maintained perception. The walkout reads like a statement, whether Lively intended it to or not, that she can't or won't weather comedic references to her legal entanglements. In an industry that demands resilience, Such an overt display of discomfort might lead some to suspect she's struggling to hide larger issues. Sponsors and production studios keep an eagle eye on how talents react under pressure. A star storming out of the most watched event in Hollywood might spook potential collaborators. If Lively's lawsuit indicates actual wrongdoing or questionable tactics, her walkout simply magnifies the sense that she's on shaky ground. Why else flee? Cynics ask. If you've got nothing to hide, you laugh off the host's jokes and move on. That's the logic swirling around gossip columns, indicating that her near-future projects might face renewed scrutiny from the press. Some defenders, though, argue that O'Brien's comedic approach was particularly scathing, that no star should be forced to endure potential slander masked as humor on the Oscars stage. They frame Lively's exit as a courageous stand, refusing to let a comedic host reduce her legal battles to punchlines. But the overarching majority of commentary has latched onto the idea that the lawsuit must have serious substance if Lively would risk the embarrassment of leaving mid-show. In a sense, the walkout ironically invites more speculation. Is Lively worried about direct evidence or revelations that could tarnish her career? Much hinges on whether Conan O'Brien singled out Lively on purpose, hoping to create a sensational moment, or if he merely addressed a trending story. His hosting style often involves poking fun at industry gossip, though rarely has it ended with a star walking away. This fact begs the question of how deeply he planned the joke and how aware he was of the turmoil it would unleash. Some claim that the jokes must have been pre-approved by the Oscars production team, although last-minute rewrites sometimes occur based on breaking news. Could there be an undercurrent of tension between O'Brien and Lively, or O'Brien and someone aligned with Baldoni who supplied comedic fodder? Observers note that O'Brien typically doesn't shy away from referencing widely circulated controversies, but the level of specificity regarding Lively's legal troubles stands out. Did he name her lawsuit openly, or drop enough clues that everyone connected the dots? The answer remains ambiguous, but either scenario was enough to push Lively over the edge. Industry voices are divided on whether O'Brien's comedic approach was a bold, timely injection of real issues or a cheap shot at Lively's expense. Some applaud him for refusing to treat the Oscars as an ivory tower untouched by real-world conflicts. Others argue that lampooning an unresolved legal matter might be stepping into personal territory. The immediate result, a star departing one of the year's biggest televised events, suggests that the comedic segment bit deeper than O'Brien or the producers could have predicted. One night at the Oscars showed how easily comedic commentary can upend a star's carefully managed image. If Blake Lively's abrupt walkout is truly linked to Conan O'Brien's pointed remarks about her lawsuit, it signals a turning point in the ongoing saga with Justin Baldoni. The question now is whether her exit will prompt further revelations or open the door for more rumor-laden attacks. If she's indeed hiding aspects of her legal entanglement, this dramatic reaction might encourage critics, and possibly Baldoni, to push harder, knowing that public exposure triggers such a strong response. In the coming days, watchers expect Lively's PR team to respond, either by downplaying the severity of the moment or by pointing a finger at O'Brien's comedic choices. If they remain silent, the rumor mill will only accelerate, reading silence as an admission of guilt or helplessness. Hollywood thrives on dramatic twists, and this meltdown, sorry, walkout, furnished exactly that. The big question remains, was this an isolated reaction, or a foreshadowing of deeper trouble for Lively as the lawsuit saga drags on? As the story continues to unfold, there's always more to discover. Thanks for tapping in now. Like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you're the first to know when more secrets come to light.